Hey, stargazers. So first things first, I'm not actually here. I'm still on hiatus. And this may be literally the shortest video I've ever done for a monthly horoscope. So I felt compelled to give you something to work with this month. So I will. So no matter where you're at in the globe, we're all a little tense, just a little tense. Because, we have world leaders who are pushing for World War III. I've got a lot of thoughts on this. We could have had Bernie Sanders for president or Elizabeth Warren. Anyway, so this has got us all more than a little nervous, and nobody's happy about this. And the people who are pushing for this literally aren't listening to any of us that they're supposed to be representing. So we're all like, right? I get it. I totally get it. If you're in the US, it's double indemnity because we also have the elections coming up on November 7th. And as of right now, it's October 30th. Hoo-hoo, happy Halloween. So, we've got that going on here. And also, too, we've got the imbeciles with guns, right? These guys are so freaking trigger happy. Like, literally, it's Tuesday at 10 a.m. Great time to shoot somebody. So we're not having a good time here in the United States. So I'm saying that because come November 7th, right, that's not actually that big a deal. Because these guys are trigger happy. They're looking for any excuse to shoot off their guns because that's the only form of power they have in life is violence. So we can expect some outbursts here and there. I mean, for God's sakes, we've already had some of these knuckleheads like literally setting fire to ballots and ballot boxes because they know they're going to lose, right? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. But though that day, election day here in the United States, that's not the day we want to watch. Here's what I want you guys to have. So get your calendars and mark these dates. November 15th through November 25th. This particular 10 days during the month, especially close to the 15th, with a full moon there, this is a very high pressure, high tension time. So kind of like those high electricity, high voltage, high tension wires that electricity runs through. It's spicy and dicey. And I want you guys to be very, very aware of what's going on around you. But more important, I want you to understand what the evolutionary demand is at this time and why this is significant. So the first thing is that Saturn will be going direct at 12 Pisces. Now Saturn, while this is happening, Pluto will be leaving Capricorn because it's literally in the last minutes of Capricorn as we speak, right? And by the 20th, just a few days later, Saturn goes direct, then Pluto leaves Capricorn and enters Aquarius permanently. Well, for the next 89 years or something. So what this means is that Saturn holds Pluto and holds very special significance right now. So the planetary activity of Saturn in your personal chart, as well as on the global stage, has huge significance. We know that Saturn in Pisces has everything to do with accountability and transparency, or transparency and accountability. But the other thing I want you guys to understand and consider this as we're dealing with this. Saturn also has to do with cowardice, morality, and ethics. Okay. So the thing about it is morality and ethics have been, pushed to their very limit in a lot of ways, or at least made very visible. We've needed to have these discussions about the morality and the ethics of situations. And the thing to remember is that it's always easy to judge other people's morality when it doesn't match ours. Like our morality is always fine as far as we're concerned. It's those people, right? And ethics is just complicated. If you've ever taken a course in ethics or you've ever had to debate ethics like in a proper environment, not with a conspiracy theory loving horses behind, right? Who literally buys into the stuff so they think it makes it sound clever. But an actual ethics discussion, right? A debate, a legitimate debate. Ethics is a freaking nightmare, right? And it's not an easy thing. It's not black or white. So it's always very challenging. So ethics is always very murky, complicated, right? And there is no simple black, white, yes, no answer. Morality is a very personal thing. And we're very quick and very easy to judge other people's morality when it doesn't look like ours. Okay. So it's our morality is always fine. It's always the other person that's the problem. So these are the things that have been coming up with Saturn and Pisces, leading to transparency and accountability. The other thing, and this is why I said cowardice, with all that said, the thing to remember is that Saturn and Pisces has also forced us to face whether we want to or not. I mean, you can certainly close your eyes and pretend you're not seeing it, but forces us to face our cowardice, okay, and the consequences of our cowardice. It's not okay to say that you're passing judgment on someone's morality, right? Because that's awful. But at the same time, turning a blind eye to other people doing the same or worse because it's convenient for you. Because why would you do that? Why would you have such a double standard where this is completely immoral, except in that situation for that person? That's okay. But the rest of you are horrible people. This has been the Saturn and Pisces thing. We're dealing with all this transit, right? And we've still got more of it to go. But if you look back, both in your personal life and on the global stage, this hypocrisy, right? The double standard about, judging and morality and holding people to standards and not holding them standards, right? Turning a blind eye when it's convenient or serves a personal purpose, right? Out of sheer cowardice, has been at play. And as Saturn goes direct this month around the 15th, this is really, boy, talk about driving the point home with a hammer. This is where we're going to find ourselves coming to a complete standstill, right? Because it's not enough to say you're judging somebody else's morality or that there should be a code of ethics or whatever. It's not enough to talk nonsense, to give lip service. Now we have to examine ourselves and say, well, this is what I've been saying all this time, but how have my actions supported that? Like, am I consistent with this, right? And, examining other people and what they represent in terms of these things. So on the global stage, our leadership, ethics, morality, right? Golden rules, right? Standards of behavior. But most importantly, cowardice and hypocrisy. These are the things that we're really going to be feeling the consequences of now, this month, okay? Because Pluto is leaving Capricorn, but within minutes of leaving Capricorn, a few days later. So Saturn holds around the 15th. Saturn holds a huge weight here. There's something significant happening here that's going to ask us to really get honest with ourselves. We're all going to have a come to Jesus moment. Good, bad, or indifferent. We've got to face these things inside ourselves as well as in other people. Okay. Now, while this is happening on the 15th, we also have a full moon at 24 Taurus, right there near that fixed star algol, because, we just love fixed stars that rule crazy people and people losing their ever-loving minds and everything else, while we're standing on the precipice of potential World War III because some religious wackadoodles and power-hungry people have joined forces and convince themselves in their spiritual conceit that they are the chosen ones and that this needs to happen, and to hell with everybody else. We'll just destroy everything in the process because in our fairy tale, we survive. You all just die, right? I'm not okay with that, but that's a whole other conversation. You subscribe to whatever religion you subscribe to, but when it comes to destroying everything around you to prove a point, maybe that's not really a good thing. I'm just saying. I'm a Buddhist. Yikes, right? So the whole Zionism thing is going to hit critical freaking mass around this full moon around the 15th. Okay. 3 days before, 3 days after, give yourself a couple days around it. It's going to reach a fever pitch. So here's the thing with the wackadoodles here in the United States with all the guns, like that's an issue. This is not going to get any better until somebody stops being a damn coward and does something. And that's going to require all of us to keep pushing for better ethics, stronger personal codes of conduct and morality. Just literally holding people accountable for their hypocrisy and their cowardice, which in the United States, the politicians were not doing at all. Because now they're just shameless with it. So look for that around there in your personal life. This is a really, really good time to have come to Jesus moment with yourself and to get really clear about where you need to be. So some of you are going to find actually at this time that you're going to feel galvanized, right? Like it's all going to make sense. Like it will be clear to you finally what you need to do and how it needs to get done, and let's do it, right? Some of you, on the other hand, may be having your ass handed back to you on a silver plate. There's your karma. It largely depends on where you're at and what you've been doing up until this point, because remember, karma means consequences, good, bad, or indifferent. It's just consequences. And also, too, what you need to learn about yourself or what you need to develop in yourself so you can move forward, right? So that's what we're looking at around the 15th with this full moon. Now, following that, Mercury does go retrograde on the 25th at 22 Sag. So, Mercury retrograde. Oh my God, Mercury is retrograde! Batten down hatches! So, I wouldn't panic too much about Mercury retrograde. If anything, it should help because it will slow things down. And given what we're dealing with the Saturn station and the full moon conjunct fixed star Algol, and Pluto changing or leaving Capricorn, going into Aquarius within a week prior to this, we could use some people to cool their jets. Maybe everybody should cool their jets and let, deep reflective minds prevail. So, as we go through this month, we've got some shifting going on, and it's not, listen, there's nothing extraordinary, huge about this. Like this has been coming. These things build like a wave, right? Way back in the water, in the ocean, it looks like a little wave, until it gets closer, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it's like whoosh, right? So the longer it takes for this momentum to build, the bigger the wave is when it reaches us. And this is kind of where we're at right now. Okay, so Pluto actually changing signs is not that big a deal this month, but this particular combination on this full moon with Saturn stationing, cradling that Pluto leaving Capricorn and bringing a solid message with it, you will literally get what you've earned with this particular full moon, Saturn direct, Pluto changing. So keep that in mind as we watch things unfold. We will get the things we have earned. If you don't like it, consider how we ended up here. Okay. So that is it. We are not, again, I will, at the risk of being wrong, and listen, if I'm wrong, there's no reason for me to worry about it, so I'll be dead. But we are not heading into World War III, contrary to the belief of conspiracy theorists who want to be clever everywhere, right? And Zionists who are convinced that they're special and they'll survive anything, like cockroaches, and the rest of us will just die. No. There will be no World War III, but we're going to get close. So in the meantime, however, it is very important that we reflect on ourselves and we do what is needed. We need to identify where we have been cowards in our life, where we don't speak up, or more importantly, where we turn a blind eye to one person doing all these horrible things that we find morally unjustifiable, or ethically wrong, but at the same time, look in the other direction and come down hard on other people. The standards we hold, not just for ourselves, but for other people, have to be consistent, or it's not a standard. It's just you looking for an excuse to beat other people up to make you feel better, right? So identifying the areas where we have been cowards, and stop being a freaking coward. Identifying the areas where we have been hypocrites, with the standards that we hold for ourselves compared to other people, or the standards we hold for these people versus those people. That's got to stop. And this is really going to hit you in the face around this full moon. And that's what's being asked for you to get clear and honest and recognize it. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with, okay, with this Algol and the Saturn station direct cradling that Pluto and Capricorn change, literally leaving signs and now going to Aquarius. This is very much about honoring the feminine energy, honoring women, giving women their due value and respect. There is no future without women or children. There is no future without women or children. We have to recognize the value and importance and presence of the divine female in everything. Okay, the only in a male patriarchal fantasy land can a man self-reproduce himself without a female partner. Patriarchal religions have literally written off women and made them invisible. Like these men have just created themselves out of their own image. Like if that's not the ultimate egomaniacal narcissistic dream, I didn't actually need a female partner to start the universe or create anything. I created it in my own image. Do you see all these children? These are just me. I did this by myself because I'm so awesome. There are other religions on the planet, and certainly other religions that existed before the patriarchal ones, that gave credit and due and respect and honor to the male and the female energy, masculine, feminine energy, right? And knew that together, as partners, this is how creative energy works, and this is how life comes into existence, right? And this is the way it started the universe. But somewhere along the way, we lost something, and the spiritual conceit of some people kind of took over, and this is where we're at. And the breaking point is now. So we're all going to get really, really honest about the standards that we hold ourselves and other people to, and whether they're consistent and if they're actually standards. Your cowardice has consequences. Saturn stationing direct while Pluto is leaving Capricorn, and this full moon in Algol, that's going to be your karma. You'll get what you have earned. All right, you guys. I'll see you in December.